Hello, and welcome to another episode of The Low Voice. Today, we're peeling back the layers of friendship and self perception through the lens of a timeless myth, Narcissus. You've probably heard the story, a young man so captivated by his own reflection, he ultimately wastes away in his pursuit. But what if I told you this tale isn't just about vanity? What if it's also about the way we form connections with others, choosing friends who reflect our idealized selves? Let's dive in. Narcissus is a figure from Greek mythology, known for his unparalleled beauty and tragic end. He falls in love with his reflection in a pool of water, unable to tear himself away. What makes this story so enduring is its universal message about self-obsession and its consequences. But let's pause for a moment. Aren't we all, in some way, a little like Narcissus? While we may not fall in love with our literal reflections, we often seek out people who mirror something back to us, whether it's our values, aspirations, or even our insecurities. So the question is, are we choosing friends for who they are, or for the way they make us feel about ourselves? Let's unpack this idea of reflection. Think about your closest friends. Do they remind you of yourself in some way? Maybe they share similar interests, validate your opinions, or reflect traits you'd like to see more of in yourself. Psychologists call this self-enhancement. We're drawn to people who affirm our sense of identity. It's comforting, isn't it? Having someone around who reinforces the idea of who we believe we are or who we'd like to be. But here's where things get tricky. When we choose friends based on this kind of projection, we risk reducing them to mere mirrors. We might miss who they really are, their complexities, their differences, their flaws. Now let's talk about what happens when the mirror cracks. When a friend challenges your perceptions or grows in ways that don't align with your projection, it can feel unsettling. Disillusionment sets in. You might even start to drift apart, not because of who they are, but because they no longer reflect back the version of yourself you've been seeking. Projection can also lead to shallow connections. If we only value friends for how they make us feel, we miss out on the richness of authentic relationships, ones built on mutual respect, curiosity, and vulnerability. So how do we break free from this Narcissus-like trap? How do we form deeper, more genuine connections? First, we can start by acknowledging our own biases. Ask yourself, what do I value most in my friendships? Am I drawn to people because they're like me, or because they challenge me to grow? Second, embrace differences. Friendships don't have to be mirrors, they can be mosaics. Each person adds a unique piece to the bigger picture of your life. And finally, practice authenticity. Show up as your true self and encourage your friends to do the same. True connection begins when we drop the projections and meet each other as we really are. The myth of Narcissus teaches us many things, but perhaps the most important lesson is this: reflection is not reality. In friendships, as in life, the greatest beauty lies not in the perfect mirror, but in the imperfect, authentic connections we create with others. So, as you think about your friendships, I challenge you to look beyond the surface. Seek out the depth, the differences, the unexpected. After all, it's these things that make our connections truly meaningful. Thank you for joining me on this reflective journey. If this episode resonated with you, share it with a friend, someone who sees you not as a reflection, but as your true self. And as always, stay curious, stay kind, and I'll see you next time on The Low Voice.